Thanks for joining us and welcome to another episode of After Hours. We are here with our castmates on the couch. We are having a good time already. And this week we are going to be talking about something not too heavy but not too light. We're going to really just kind of go behind the scenes and talk about our daily duties as, meteorologists, sportscasters, digital content producers, reporters, or if you anchor. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm a reporter and anchor here at Double duty at WCBI.
Booked and busy.
There is a lot that goes into the day. And
start with the reporter. Like on days you report, how does that begin for you?
Well, we start our day at 9 o'clock with our morning meeting, and then we go in and we pitch ideas. We kind of see what's kind of flowing through the day, if there's anything that we have to make that's necessary or mandatory. Stephen knows that, Desmond knows that. And then we kind of just pitch our own ideas. What's going on in the community? What are those national headlines that we can localize a little bit? Or maybe if it's something that you can humanize, a little cute feature story. Moving forward, then we kind of go set up our interviews, travel to that location, and then we just film the story.
Sometimes it's an hour travel, right?
Yes.
And how easy is it to set up interviews on most days?
So easy.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing to do in the world.
What's the longest time it's taken you or Stephen or Desmond to set up a story?
I had a day where it was 12 noon and I still didn't have a story, which for those of you at home, 12 noon, that's about 2 hours before I like to be back in studio, have everything together, put it together for both shows. And yeah, I was scrambling that day.
It kind of makes your brain just kind of fizz a little bit. You're like, what am I going to do today now?
It's one of those days where you're literally on the phone from about 9:30 to, in this case, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, just going, please, someone say yes. Someone say yes.
All right. Desmond, what about you? What's the longest?
The longest, come in, get on the phone around 9, like Stephen was saying. I think it was about like 1:30.
Oh my gosh.
I went like 1:30. I finally got something set up, did it at 1:45, and I think they know how fast I can work, so they still put me at the monitor at 6.
Oh, really? So you still had to be back in studio?
I made it work.
Come back. Okay.
Made it work.
Now, did you have to travel outside of Columbus, or were you just lucky to stay?
It wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Now, see, I don't report, but I have a quick reporting story where in a previous market, I just did a VOSite, which to reporters is nothing. I'm well aware. And for those watching at home, that's just a video with a little soundbite attached to it. It's not anything that crazy. And I got back to the station at probably 2:30, and I was just beyond stressed. I had to have another reporter come help me for the 5 o'clock show, and y'all can laugh, but like for me, who never does that, it was horrifying to me. And I had to have help just for a simple VOSite that should take y'all 20 minutes to do, if that.
Yeah,
and it took me 2.5 hours plus help. Pitiful.
Yeah, sports needs help with their VOSites every day too.
Do they, John?
No, we're good. No, we're good. Sports, it's probably varies the most. All these jobs vary, whether you're digital and you have some different forms of breaking news that you got to push out to different forms of social, whether you guys have breaking news, but ours ranges from press conferences, it ranges from shooting games, shooting interviews for future stories, pre-producing or just producing your 5, 6, and 10 o'clock sportscast with local content that's as recent as possible, shooting a high school game, setting up future interviews, setting up future logistics, so it's there's a lot. But that type of variety is kind of like why I feel like we're all here, that little spontaneity and all that good stuff.
I have to ask, what happens if a game goes into overtime?
That's when we just cry and we punch, the desk. No.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty good question because it's a parallel to that with just kind of rolling with the punches, like there are some nights where, for example, at the Liberty Bowl, Mississippi State and Texas Tech ended at a certain time where I probably had about 8 minutes to get what I needed back through front and back a live shot up at Memphis, and it was able to work out. But if it wasn't able to, you just utilize your time in a different way. So if it's in overtime, then you make necessary and annoying adjustants.
Tell the folks at home what it's like to put together End Zone, WCBI's high school football show. It's September to December.
Yeah,
very complex show. A lot that goes into that.
There's a lot. More with that is the pre-planning and also the time management, because we send out about 10 or 11 photographers from here to go shoot 1 or 2 games each, and if all of them are out there shooting all of that stuff, you got to pre-plan. Okay, where are they going? What's the best route? What's the best time efficient route for them to go. You know, you're not going to send someone to Noxapater and then up to Aberdeen. You know, like you're gonna make it easier from a strategy standpoint. So once you kind of plan out where everyone's going, where you're sending highlights to sister stations, whether they're in different areas that we like partner with those with, whether they're down in Meridian, whether they're down in Jackson, you got to plan out that stuff too. And then which ones you're receiving, which ones you're sending back. And pre-producing a bunch of graphics, a bunch of show opens, utilizing time for all that. So it's definitely a lot of pre-planning.
The list just keeps on rolling.
It does. It does. There's a lot.
So Isaac, when it comes to making the everyday forecast, what is that like? And things can kind of switch at the blink of an eye.
Yeah, when a meteorologist is surprised, that's never a good sign. I love surprise, not with my job. But on a typical day, we come in, and a lot of people think, we have somebody else do the forecast, or we read from the teleprompter that we look at like the news anchors do, but we just make it up as we go. In order to do that, we have to come in hours before and look at a bunch of weather data and come up with, what is the story today? How can I tell the story to the best of my ability? And at the time of this taping, it is how warm it's been, and now it's about to get really cold and rain a lot. So that's what I do. I look at many different charts that you will never see on television, because it's my job to take all these years of schooling, dumb it down, but on top of everything else, radio, as everybody else mentioned, social media, Emma Rose and I work very closely together with severe weather, especially because even when I'm not here, I might be babysitting the radar at home, where I can remote into our graphics computer and say, well, the storm doesn't look that severe, so we're not going to have everybody rush in just yet, but everybody needs to be ready, which brings me to my next point of, while I have a Monday through Friday schedule, for the most part, what if severe weather happens at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, as you've seen me run in here, Saturday afternoon with Tishomingo County. So when breaking weather happens, I have to stop what I'm doing and come here. As long as I am in town, I have to be here, basically.
Right. And basically, I don't think a lot of the viewers kind of realize how flexible our schedules have to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because we always have a set schedule, 9 to this or 3 a.m. to whatever, but really we're kind of 24-hour if you think about it.
And unfortunately for all, except for sports, really.
Yeah, we don't have that set schedule. Some days we do.
I was saying, though, when breaking weather happens, all of the people around me, except for sports, has to sort of drop what they're doing sometimes and kind of help us cover weather, because we're standing here in front of a green wall. We're not out there seeing what's happening, and that's where all of you guys in the general public, come in to play to help us tell the not only weather story but news story too.
Also, please share what time you get in here.
I get up at 2, and on good days I'm here at 2:45
a.m.
Yes.
Early. So what time are you going home?
Right after the noon show on a good day, 12:30. So that's the best part. That's why I kind of wanted the shift, is that you get to have your days back. But what happens if there's severe weather in the afternoon? Then all that is to kaput. So I have to come on back. So
and I know a lot of our viewers stay up to date with our website stuff. So Emma Rose, kind of tell us what you do on the daily, because I don't know if people think it's a robot, but it's a human being that's typing up all this stuff. So.
Fun fact, we read every single one of your comments, every single one. I know some of you by name, individually. Anyway, so all of our web stories, I'm responsible for like the news portion of our website, sports if they need help, weather if they need help. I'm pushing out all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you get a push notification that's related to news, that's me. Severe weather days, like I am, I'm texting Isaac, like, what do you need me to push out? They'll put stuff on the WCBI weather account. I put it on the WCBI news account.
And like all the meteorologists, sorry to interject, but like if it's 3 a.m. in the morning, Lance and I or Jackson and I are also texting you too. Like, well, we have to, because you run the Facebook stream,
right.
And so we know that a lot of folks depend on our Facebook live stream, and you certainly on point on that too.
That's all me. I'm the one like everyone else. There's multiple reporters and stuff, but as far as digital goes, like it's me. Just this one gal.
And it's so important too, because digital is so important. Obviously, you know this, but the people at home might not. But reaching as many different kinds of demographics that we can is really like so important, because you get certain demographics on the newscast, And then certain people that get their news on social media, well, it's a
Right.
good way to get those as well. So that's why that's like so crucial.
Yeah, we really think of it as like an additional channel. We have like WCBI News, like Channel 4, as everyone knows it, and then we have the CW, and then we have like our social media platforms, because so many people do just get their news from Facebook and Twitter and our app. And so like it's so important for us to like really, I mean, we might not be putting news out till 5 or 6 o'clock on air, but we can have that content out. If a press release comes out at 2 o'clock, we can have it online at 2 minutes, or like at like 2 minutes after it's like come out.
Gotcha. So I have one more question for y'all. Now we know what our daily duties are, but is there anything that anyone has struggled with and maybe had to kind of overcome as time went on?
Just like in general?
Just in
like
general.
With the job? I found myself, because it can be, if you don't really, what I've figured out is like the mental health aspect of it. If you don't slow down, because there's so many great things to be simulated about, and you guys love news, you love weather, I love sports. I mean, so we're all kind of the same with that. But if you don't really kind of like settle down or chill out a little bit, it could all get bottled up and form irrational anxieties and whatever. So every day I do about like a 40 to 45 minute like meditation practice before like a physical workout, and it just kind of like helps you kind of stay mindful and eliminate irrational anxieties. And I found that to be important. I don't know if you guys have tried that. But,
Oh yeah,
that's
for sure.
something
I mean, for me, that takes the form of really making time to get away from everything and making time to just unplug. Because I mean, to Isaac's point, like there was, I can remember distinctly I guess it would have been a Monday morning at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I get a call from our news director saying, "Hey, there's a tornado out in Calhoun City. We need you to go. We need you to get video. We need you to do live shots all morning." And then I'm staying there, getting footage, doing interviews, and putting together a package for 5 and 6. And it's just an all-day occurrence, on. Just me, the camera gear, and the station car, and then putting together the web story afterwards, so that all that can exist online, and making sure that you set aside time to just turn the brain off, shut yourself down. That is crucial, so that you will be able to, like you all were saying, adapt to the ever-changing schedule of news.
Owning the flexibility, and you're going to have to bend here and there a little bit, but just making sure that you always allot that time for yourself at the end of the day or the end of the shift or whatever that might be is definitely something that I've also found.
And like everyone's different too. I'm not saying you need to meditate and work out every day. Like your kind of decompressing is different from my decompressing. Different things work for different people, but putting your mental health first, I think, is definitely very crucial. So that's something that's like a challenge that I've tried to overcome before personally. I don't know about the rest
of meditations, maybe affirmations, and just kind of clearing your head, just kind of moving into your work
for
day.
fun, everybody asks me like, oh, well, how have you ever adjusted the morning shift? And my short answer is always, you never do. But that's not necessarily true. You do eventually adapt to the schedule, and it just takes practice and discipline. Whether it's the evening shift, whatever shift you work, as long as it stays regularly consistent, it takes a lot of discipline to sort of set yourself up for success.
Gotcha.
I know this job is like my first job out of college, so it's a lot different than what I expected. How is it like? Is the job you're doing now what you expected it would be?
That's a good. I think you have to do the job to actually kind of experience it. So I wouldn't say it wasn't what I thought it would be, but I think my mind has kind of shifted into the role of what I kind of expected to be doing, if that makes sense in a way.
No, it definitely does. I think for your first job out of college, it's hard to fully expect what it's going to be like until you do it every day. But for some of us, this isn't our first job out of college. For Steven, Isaac, me, I mean, it's not. So, when you go from that first to the second, it's obviously, you know what to expect more, but for the first one, it's hard to expect.
Right. But with the news business, it changes based on your geography, where you are. What's considered news in my last market in Idaho is not what is considered news here in Mississippi. I mean, you don't have tornadoes, you have snowstorms and blizzards and ice, and the fishing season is gigantic. And learning a community is something that never stops once you change jobs, wherever you go. That becomes kind of the getting familiar with the ins and outs of an area. that doesn't change, and that's something that you'll always need to adjust to. But yeah, once you've been through a couple jobs, you kind of know what the drill is.
For me with digital, I think I have such a problem with, like, I didn't expect, I always knew I wanted to work in some sort of like social media, like, age. For me, two things, it's hard to like make that like not work social media versus like personal social media. But other than that, it's just fun to be employed.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's very good to hear everyone's roles, and maybe, you know, if you see one of us feeling down or just kind of need that extra push, you know, just be your friends, send a call or text, or just rub it back and say, you know, you got this throughout the day. But for the viewers at home, if you have any more questions or want to see more of our episodes, Emma Rose is going to tell you where you can find us on Twitter, Instagram.
And our Facebook page is up and running again.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it's just at After Hours WCBI across all the boards. You can send us a message and on any of those. And like I said, I read all of them, all the comments, all the messages. So
Be nice.
Be nice.
good luck with that.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We will see you back here next week.